Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Ilhan Omar has finally done it now. She has triggered an investigation that could lead to her deportation. But before we get into this story, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, the heat is on and the pressure is rising for Ilhan Omar, who has been particularly vocal in her animosity towards the Trump administration of late. And this time, there is some substantial evidence that she did indeed marry her brother in an off-the-book ceremony to get her brother into the United States and to get him into the American community in Minnesota. And one of the Somali leaders has spoken out to the Daily Mail, and this was in a piece some time ago. And this Somali leader did confirm that she did marry her brother. Now, this squad congresswoman, Ilhan Omar, told her friends years ago that the man who went on to become her second husband was in fact her brother. And Abdahil Hakim Osman was the first person to go on the record to speak of how Omar said she wanted to get her brother papers so that he could become an American. So what Osman said is no one knew there had been a wedding until the media turned up with the marriage certificate later. Now, this renews calls to investigate the Minnesota representative, and she has repeatedly refused to answer questions on her marriage to Elmi, her brother. So the latest news on this is that President Donald Trump has accused Omar of marrying her brother, and that was during an interview with Politico's Dasha Burns, and that was released Tuesday. Let's watch.
Kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
They certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain, 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 and yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world. Let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
Speaking of ships.
This follows upon Omar claiming during a Sunday appearance on Face the Nation that Somalis in Minnesota were actually the victims of welfare fraud. And Trump was right. She is just someone who complains all the time, and she is very ungrateful for being in this country. She has paired with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be a real destructive duo there in Minnesota. So weigh in with your thoughts. Do you think that Omar did indeed marry her brother? Because it looks like Tom Homan is investigating, according to a recent interview with Laura Loomer, that suggested he knew an investigation was going on. He didn't want to talk about it. Well, probably because it was an ongoing investigation. But stay tuned for this one, because I think some big things are finally happening, and she may find herself on the outside looking in. She'll be able to put her words to the test. If Somali is every bit as good as the United States, well, it shouldn't be very scary to go there. Is that right, Ilhan Omar? So in any event, please weigh in with your thoughts. We always appreciate hearing from you at Explain America.